Oh, hey guys, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning episode today. So today we are on this random, like, part one of two, part two of five, whatever. So this is another
Yeah,
random, but it's still a two-part reflection. I think this is a good one to kind of talk about. I think it has some good benefits to us if we can immerse ourselves in it. So let's talk about the next one. First, you want to introduce the reflection?
yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that just about the books and how they get all. So it's this section of the Your Magical Learning that's kind of all over the place. Specifically, I multiple things have happened at this point in the journey. Right. Number one, I've finished all the original books that were that had been read before this journey ever started. Before I started the writing journey. So for the first year and like 13, 14 months or whatever it was before I started the writing journey for Your Magical Learning, I had finally caught up to all the books that I'd read before that, mixing in with the new books that were being read going forward after that, right? So that was point number one. Point number two was with Will Smith's book, if you remember that one back in
Just.
yeah. But I allowed myself for the first time to break my own rules, and I wrote instead of just a one book, one reflection, I allowed myself to write a 3-part reflection for that one because I was like, I just really liked it and kept writing it. So now I allowed myself mentally to say, look, if I have multiple thoughts on a book and things I learned, like just write whatever I want to write. So that's the second part that's happening now. I had told myself from the very beginning I had designated 5 books that I was gonna write a 5-part reflection for, and that was all the ones I was gonna write a multiple reflection for. So now that I had finished all of the books, the initial books, like now I was going back and I was writing my, part 2, part 3, in between mixing in the new books that were being finished. So all those factors come together to be where you're at right now in the Your Magical Learning journey, where we're at on book 198. So you're starting to see a lot of this kind of choppy, like part 1 of this, and the next tomorrow it'll be part 4 of this, and the next week after that it'll be 3 of 5 with this, So I was just going through all these and writing them down as I was mixing them in with new books. Does that all make sense?
I think it makes sense. Some people, I think if you do a 5-part reflection
You
and
should just do
each
it all at once.
reflection kind of tie, if it's independent of the other ones,
Right.
then it should be fine. I have no problem with it because, if reflection is just a lesson that we want to learn or get inspired to try,
Right.
as long as they are completely stand alone on its own, I think
Yeah.
that's completely good. It's just that you name it one of two or whatever, and people think that it's connected in a way, and
Right.
so they may get confused and say, okay, it says part 2. There's something else I'm supposed to get out of this reflection and lesson
That's
for the
fair.
day.
So it should be like reflection 1 of 2 or something. Oh,
Think
yeah.
so. I isn't shouldn't be the leading in the
Well,
title because
yeah.
reflection is reflection. It just
Right.
happens to come from this book,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
happen to come from the book multiple times.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So as once this book officially becomes published, someday we'll
Or
adjust it to
just
say
remove the one
reflection.
of
Yeah,
two and four, five, five
it'll
of
just be
five. It just
reflection 595 and or three or reflection 198. You know what I mean? Instead
mhm.
of yeah. No, I agree with you. So we can always clean those things up as we go. No big deal. Either way.
I was just mentioning this so that the viewers don't
Yeah.
wait and search for something else. And hey, it should be okay if you're doing a book study to kind
Right.
of go and find all the reflection for that book. But if you only following along on the journey to kind of say this is reflection 1 or 2 isn't really accurate, right? Because it has nothing to do with the reflection part. It just each reflection is on its own.
Yeah. No, it is. So it's but I get what you're saying. So this particular book, though, I'm just diving
You
into
gotta prove me wrong.
the.
Hey, it's not. It's connected.
This particular one is connected because of the monthly challenge that went on. So I'll just get to the reflection. So the book is The Wim Hof Method, Activate the Full Human Potential by Wim Hof. If you don't know who Wim Hof is known as the
The
Iceman.
ice.
So he's this, I guess, an extreme athlete, I guess, if you want to call him that.
I would say he's an extreme human being. Whether or not he's
Yeah,
an athlete is, I don't think he participate in organized events of an athlete. I mean, he does, run around in the heat and submerge himself in the cold.
he's an
But
endurance athlete. I mean, I would call it
that's
endurance.
what he does for his own desire. I mean,
Mhm.
So he's not competing with anyone.
No.
And so when I'm thinking of an athlete, they say, hey, it's a tennis player playing with another tennis player, a football player play within a team, and
Right.
an athlete in that sense. But for him, it's like he's running alone in the hot desert across the country,
Or up Mount
or goes
Everest,
to
with
exactly,
no shirt
and
on
he's
and no
by
shoes.
himself. So
Right. Yeah.
he's an athlete of one. So he's competing against himself versus kind of like the normal.
He's like man versus nature is really kind of what it is. But
Yeah.
anyway, so he's a unique dude. He's a really unique character, and he has a methodology that he calls the Wim Hof Method. That's basically about helping to train your heart and using cold and breathing techniques to stress your body to help you challenge yourself physically and to help you to control your heart rate, to help you to regulate stress and regulate emotions and regulate body temperatures and a lot of other things, right? So this is Wim has a, he's a man on a mission. He really believes that this can help people and can help change people's lives and heal people and a lot of other things. And there's a whole lot to unpack with Wim Hof. On the surface, if you just saw his like a YouTube video of his, you'd probably be, what the hell is this? And to be fair, I'll just dive into the reflection. That was actually my initial first impressions of him. So the reflection title of this one is Now We Go Into the Cold. So if you remember, over the past couple of weeks, we've been doing Wherever You Go, There You Are. Mm-hmm. We've been doing the Swedish art of death cleaning. We've been doing other reflections about meditation and calm and whatever. And like I told you, I went on this weird kick for like a month and a half, 2 months or something like that, where I was, using my monthly challenges for death cleaning and for, letting go and for the Wim Hof method. I don't know, like there was something going on in my life. I don't know what it was like, but it was telling me to slow down and to focus on the here and now a little bit. And that was what I did. So this particular book, as we all know, the universe always brings stuff to us for a reason, right? Like we talked about with the first book, right? With The Alchemist of, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to make it happen. I didn't even know that I wanted this, but apparently I did. I was seeking this stuff out. So my first impressions of Wim Hof, just to be clear, like, I don't know about you, but like, I hate the word life hack. It drives me nuts. Like, I just hate when you see on social media, oh, this is the life hack for health and beauty and success in business and whatever. This is another life hack, another life hack. It makes me honestly want to vomit every time I see it, because I'm always like face palm. People are so stupid. Like, there is no hack to life. I mean, there never will be, there never is. And it's just not possible. Like it comes with a lot of the stuff that we've been working on, which takes a lifetime to get to where you want to go. But there is no hack to life, And the reason why I bring that up in conjunction with Wim Hof, there was a lot of idiots and yahoos out there in the world that use Wim Hof as a life hack, right? Where they're like, oh, they have like their staged photos on LinkedIn and, like in the ice bath. And they're like, I practice the Wim Hof method. I got to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I never get sick anymore because I practice the Wim Hof method, and you're like, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, and you're just, I don't know. It's just another gimmick of people that just want to tout themselves and talk about themselves and, tell you what, why them hopping in the cold bath one day, 1 week, changed their life or whatever. Like, and you're like, just shut up, So like, I like, for me personally, like this is my first initial exposure to Wim Hof. And I'm like, this guy, every time I hear this shit, I'm like, this guy, whatever, this is such a joke, So I have just a natural aversion to these things in general. And I remember Blake actually telling me about Wim Hof, telling us both about Wim Hof a long time ago, like two plus years ago. And I was like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't know. I'll check it out if I want to. Like, I'm not really that curious, So how did I even get to Wim Hof then? You're after you hear all that, you're probably like going like, how did you get to Wim Hof? So, so in the book, on this journey pointed me to a book on this journey pointed me toward Wim Hof. So I was reading Running with Sherman, and Sherman's training partner. Sherman is the donkey, for everybody that doesn't know. Sherman is a donkey that was training to run a pack burro race in Colorado. He was on death's door and he had no purpose, and they gave him purpose by running. His training buddy, Zeke, was looking for ways to make sure that he did everything he could to show up with Sherman so Sherman could run the race of his life, kind of thing. He knew that he was going to be stressed at altitude in the cold and in Colorado, and he wanted to try to prepare for that. So he had heard about cold immersion therapy and, ice baths and whatever, and the Wim Hof method. And he mentioned Wim Hof, and they were studying, it helps you to stress your body, it helps you to recover quicker, it helps you do this other stuff. So he thought, well, if I maybe tried these cold baths every day, maybe this will help me to help train better with Sherman. So there was a part of the book where they talked about they would go into this cold creek every morning and they were just, would sit in there as long as they could. They ended up all kind of liking it and enjoying it, and they thought it was kind of helping in general. So I don't know if it was the book. It felt like a good friend. I love that book. And it felt like a good friend telling me, like, hey, maybe you should look into this. Or if it was the fact that I run a lot these days, if I was more curious about how it would help my own performance, I don't know. Whatever it was, maybe I was just feeling like I needed to connect more with the here and now. For whatever reason, this book found me, and I was like, okay, I heard it and running with Sherman. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. So I downloaded Wim Hof, the Wim Hof Method book, and I tried to find out what this dude was all about, and actually what I found was really, really interesting. Wim Hof is not much different than I am in a lot of ways. He experienced a very traumatic, painful event with his wife committing suicide. And that's what really drove him into the cold, trying to find a way to process his own pain. And through doing that stuff and him dedicating his own self to figuring out his own balance in life, right? That was how he ended up coming to this stuff. And he tested a lot of different things out, and he tried a lot of things as he was trying to figure out his life again, being a father to 4 children and a single father after his wife had gone insane and committed suicide, and he was lost and trying to just figure out his way in the world. And this is what led him to his methodology. And he's been doing it. This isn't just some gimmick that he's been doing. He lives this. He has his, as Nassim Taleb would say, this guy's soul is in the game. It's not a joke. I mean, he really feels like he can help people and he has a purpose in life. And this is how he's going to try to spread that message. The reason why he does extreme things is because he wants to get people's attention so he can help them and share his purpose with them. That's the only reason why he does this shit that he does. He's not about like gimmicks and whatnot. He does it to help push the purpose of helping other people to find their purpose and heal from pain and things like that. So I found a lot of commonalities and connections with the guy, obviously going through what I've been going through in my life. And I thought, you know what? I trust Wim. Seems like a good guy now. I appreciated reading his book and I appreciated his story. And I said, what the fuck? Let's do this, So I took a monthly challenge and I did the cold shower challenge and his breathing challenge. And this is part 1 of how I came to Wim Hof, just more about his life and the connection there. And part 2, there's results of that. So part 2 is going to be tomorrow, actually, but we'll talk about the results and kind of my overall thoughts about it. However, for today's reflection, going into the cold, and the reason why I wrote that title is it just reminds me every single day when I would take the cold shower, when I first started trying this. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it because I'll talk about the actual stuff tomorrow. But, I would always tell myself, like, now we go into the cold, like, just preparing myself, like just suck it up and go, and it was just what I would say to myself right before I stepped into the freaking cold water. And then you went, I tried to just hated it and wanted to get out. But anyway, so yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Wim Hof has a point to how to really expand the human potential. And even what he did, right? And the things that he has subjected his body through kind of proves to us that our body, it is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing I take away from this is that our body, one of the special characteristic of our body is its ability to adapt.
Yep.
Right. And so when you see people go into the cold, right? When you see people doing the heat, running in the heat, you see people doing things that normal people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Like some kind of E. coli, something like that, and
Yeah,
have
it was
his
some kind
body
of
trying to
bacterial
fight
infection.
it. Yeah, some kind of bacterial infection that he'll allow his body to fight it. And the thing is, you have to understand that I think the method that he's using isn't all this, witchcraft thing, because you have to, if you understand the science behind it, because I'm saying before, I am as a human being, right? It's been conditioned to live in a humid and hot environment. So when I'm conditioned for that, that's my natural habitat. In that environment, I feel normal. I don't sweat. I don't feel hot. But a person who isn't acclimated to that environment, like a lot of people in the north of the United States, they come down in Houston or they go to, the East Asian country, the Vietnam, the Thailand, the Cambodia, right? They sweat profusely.
We melt.
But I'm saying is, so the difference is that we have been conditioned for that. And so you look at like whatever your environment is, when you get to a certain level, your body is going to adapt to that and make that the normalcy. And so when you're talking about, let's say, remember we were talking about the heartbeat, right? Do you want the heartbeat to be high or will be low, right? So to me, it's not about having a low heartbeat or having a high heartbeat. My theory is that it is much, much better to have the ability to raise it up and to decrease it. Let's say you run fast, really fast, and you're chasing something and your heart elevates to 150. The moment you stop, right, that heart rate should come down in the next 30 seconds to a minute, right? From 150 to like 100 to like 90. But if you have a body that cannot regulate that, then your body doesn't have the range. Because you're talking about, let's say, somebody who isn't conditioned for the range, right? So when you don't have the condition for range, your normal temperature is going to be at a certain small range, maybe, you know, I guess 70 to 90, whatever. And then when you get to like 95, you get a heat stroke and then you start to go delirious and you might die from it, right?
Yeah.
You put me into a 120 degree, I mean, it's like a little bit hot, but it's no big deal. You know what I mean? And then you talk about me going to like Alaska, right? I can't survive that because my range is not that far.
I mean, you can survive. You don't want to, but
No,
you can.
you have to understand this, Chris. I know this, okay? Because
You wouldn't
I've
die in
can't.
Alaska because it's
No, no, no.
cold.
You won't die. You won't die. But this is what happened because I came from Vietnam, right? Vietnam is very hot and humid. It's even more humid than Houston.
Yeah.
So when I go from a hot country to a cold country, right? At fucking 75 degrees, I get a cold. You say so the thing is, if I were to go into the 0 degree at when I was in my own climate, right? I go to 0 degree. I mean, I probably have the worst cold that it lasts forever, and it may take me out of put me on a stretcher, put me in the hospital. Because you
Sure.
think about it,
Sure.
you get to the danger zone. So you think about what Wim Hof did is like he is conditioned to be in the heat at 110 degrees because he runs, in the heat, which is his cap on, he's shirtless, his cap on, he's run, and then he goes and immerses himself into the cold. The thing is, what he did isn't to go and jump into the cold. He conditioned himself first with the hands, with the feet, with the body, and then with longer, right? So he's gradually letting his body acclimate to the conditions. And then whenever that condition say, well, if at 0 degree, your body is used to it. It doesn't go into this flight or it's trying to protect you. So it's going to shut down a bunch of things. It go into this emergency crisis mode, right? And that creates put you in a hospital, put you in a stretcher, sometimes kind of put you out completely, right?
Right.
And so if you get your body to acclimate, or basically in another word, you are training your body to handle those extremes. And once you have the extreme, it's like he can go from one place to the next place, and it's still normal to him because his range has been expanded. So just for the cold aspect of it, he is completely more versatile, more powerful of a human being than the rest of us. That's just the cold immersion alone. The breath hold is going to give you even more because your body is being conditioned to optimize the intake of oxygen and use it efficiently. So whether or not he have a bunch of oxygen, or whether he goes into the mountain where there's less oxygen, or whether he's in the water, he needs to hold his breath for like 6 minutes, right? He could because he was able to do that already. So if you look at the science behind how your body is able to adapt, then it makes complete sense in what he's doing. And so you look at his body, right? He's able to combat the bacteria that was injected into him because his body has been conditioned to exercise and to fight these infections. Because you're talking about like going to the cold, right? The cold exposes to different set of bacteria that normally would have survived in a certain temperature. So the Wim Hof method to me is very scientific, and I think it does wonders for us. If you think about making yourself more versatile, more flexible, more powerful, just having the ability to be completely like not dependent on a certain narrow range of environment. You can survive in multitudes of environment, multitude of conditions, and even drastic changes. So even the drastic changes that kind of swing back and forth, I mean, it doesn't affect you, because a lot of times, like a lot of people, like in America, right? We get a lot of like the flu in the fall. I mean, that's why you have flu shot, and I mean, flu
Yeah.
shot is prevalent nowadays. Why is that? It's because when the cold front comes, the bacteria that lives in that climate comes with it, and it touches you, and then you get sick because you're not conditioned for that bacteria. But you know what I'm saying? So it's not that you can't survive the bacteria. It's just like, hey, your body is weaker. It couldn't handle it. Every time it comes, it has to kind of like reset itself, trying to learn that thing, trying to get itself ready for it. And that's the thing, is when you have the ability to go and condition yourself back and forth in a larger range, even when a cold front comes, the temperature and environment condition is still within your range of comfort, or your range of, you can handle that range, right? And so that's gives you, like, whenever the cold front comes every single fall, right? You're not one of the victims of the flu. You say, well, I'm still healthy. I'm not sick because my body knew how to handle the bacteria and the viruses that comes with that
Yeah.
environment that comes in. Because if you think
Wait.
about it, I mean, the flu shot is so prevalent nowadays. Everybody's, I mean, like, the majority of the population gets a flu shot every season, and sometimes it took like multiple shots in a single
Right.
season.
Yeah, our body regulates our insides with heat and cold, obviously, right? Like that's why we get fevers when we get sick, it's because we're trying to force ourselves to pump our blood faster. That's why when you get panic attacks, your body heats up. Your heart is
Right,
controlling
but
a
I
lot of
think
these.
your
Like,
body
yeah,
has a certain threshold that it'll trigger and go into panic mode.
right,
If
exactly.
you, I mean,
Yeah.
if say, for example, you can survive 3 minutes without oxygen, but if you hold your breath for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, you start to panic. Your body goes into that mode. But if you condition yourself, your body won't. You say, hey, I can still be able to handle this set of, environment or criteria or whatever it is. But if you don't train it, it will go into crisis mode, and it will do things it shouldn't. Like, maybe it goes and it shut down your organ, it shut down your eyes, you can't see because you blacked out. If you hold your breath, right, you blacked out.
Yeah, for
You start shutting down a bunch of things. But the act of shutting down these things actually put you into a downward spiral,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
right?
for sure. I mean, I think one of the things that I've found most fascinating with Wim Hof in general is how he came to this. And what I mean by that is, I don't think any of this has anything to do with, you can come up with whatever scientific reason you want to come up with. It doesn't matter. This is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily love science, because we're just looking for reasons to justify why we feel the way that we feel. All I know is Wim Hof, the stuff feels good. Like when you take a cold shower, you feel better. This is about exploring pain, in my opinion. Wim Hof in pain, and he was exploring pain, and he wanted to find a way to embrace it and to figure out a way to how do
I
you
mean, the
how
thing
do
is,
you
it's
embrace
about
pain?
enduring. It's
Yeah, right.
enduring, because
And
the thing is, you come from an atomic bomb. The pain is so deep, right? That cold shower is nothing. I
right,
mean, and
right.
you're talking about. I mean, I remember you talking about the book, the hot things, the things about hot things or whatever,
The hard
right?
things about hard things. Yeah.
Right. And so to you, it's like you say, "What the hell are you talking about?" And for you to say,
Right.
"Hey, I have to," the hardest thing for me in life was to decide to lay off people. It's like, that's not a hard thing, right? Because
That's
your perspective changed.
right.
So when you have this deep pains and sorrow, right? For you to stay in the cold, I mean, shit. I mean, it's like nothing. You could do this with your eyes closed.
Well, you find it forces you. What happens, and I mean, I'll definitely talk about it tomorrow a little bit more. But like for me, what happens in the cold in particular, and also when you're holding your breath, it forces you to go somewhere. Like, or sorry, you want to go somewhere else. Like that's what your natural inclination is, to try to run away from the feeling, and you can't. Like you just have to fucking figure out how to embrace the feeling in the moment, and then that's it. Like you just have to figure out how to embrace the feeling in the moment and control your breath and to control yourself, like and absorb the pain, like and then when you're done, then you get the rebound effect, benefit of it, of basically a dopamine hit, of you did something painful, and you get to go up from there, and it's a dopamine hit. It's a long burn dopamine hit. It's not like when you go do a line of cocaine or something like that, like immediately you have regret. You're like, oh God, why did I just do that? You know, not, I mean, I've never done cocaine. So let's say you're gambling or something like that. Like after you place your bet and you're like, you get this huge dopamine surge. And then afterwards you immediately are like, why did I just do that? Like, this is stupid. You get nothing but negative. You get this huge rush of good feelings or something positive. You feel like it's an adrenaline rush or whatever it is, right? That dopamine hit. And then immediately you're going back downwards and it feels awful afterwards, right? With the cold showers and the breathing, everything going forward feels great because you're like, oh shit, I did that and I absorbed it and I embraced the pain. And that's why I said, like, now we go into the cold.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, for me, I don't actually like hate the cold because I don't actually jump into the cold shower. Right. And for me, so I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to completely jump into the cold shower, make it cold and jump into it. I don't do that at all. What I do is I just start to go to the comfort temperature and then start to slowly make the cold. It gets colder and colder and colder until it's maximum cold. And the thing is that is a gradual adjustment and transitions. And your body isn't as shocked. You can shock it if you want. And I think shocking it has its benefits. But having to be in a cold, right? Just by the fact of being in cold, but at the same time, right, it does have the lasting effect. Because the cold shower gives your body a little more strength. You feel much more, I mean, like lighter and more like energized. Just because
I actually feel warmer after a cold shower.
Yeah, I mean, I go out and it's warm. So what I did isn't like the shock of the cold. So I don't hate the cold shower. I mean, to me, it's being normal because I don't actually. So I adjust it to the little bit.
I've definitely done that many times. I only do that when I don't want to embrace the there's something to that initial shock of just turning it all the way and just jumping in and figuring it out. That's what I'm talking about when you're forced to just figure it out. I initially started to try to meditate my way through it, where I would try to go to somewhere with Amelia.
But isn't that a little bit of a frog? I mean, to me, you want to give yourself something that you can do, like without thinking. It's like breathing. You do that without thinking. That it helps you in your.
This is the point for me. Is like I don't want to do it, but I also know that it is a little eating the frog when you do it that way. But this is something that I want to eat the frog for. Like I found value in the pain of embracing the pain from both of these activities. I don't like it. Like it's not like I look forward to it. Every fucking time that I turn that goddamn shower to the cold and I
that's what I'm saying is,
and I go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. You
gotta, yeah. I mean, you still have to pick the part that you. I mean, we talk about Snow, right? Let's say talk about Snow. He loves to teach, but he hates his job. Because there's some part of his job that is not what he wants. He likes to teach the kids. He loves it, but he hates his job because he don't want to do all the admin stuff along with the job. You don't have to embrace it just because it's part of the package, right? That it's good for me and that I can do without having to struggle. And that's my thing. It's this is why I keep.
This is a fundamental difference between the two of us. I want to struggle through this. Is what I'm trying to say. It's like one of my core values is challenge yourself.
Right. I think that's the big difference between me and you. You are looking for pain so you can grow. For me, say, hey, you can still grow without the pain. I know pain is a big driver, but I don't think pain is the only one. And that's my theory from the beginning.
Like to be fair, like the breathing side of everything, I don't feel pain when I do the breathing side. Actually, the breathing side of everything is very relaxing for me. I really, really, really enjoy it. I really look forward to. I don't want to share my thoughts on how I feel when I was doing this stuff because I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But like I have to separate these two. Like the cold is pure pain, and I'm just suffering through it, and until I don't suffer through it. And then the breathing for me is more a relaxation thing now. I actually just really love it. I feel energized when I'm done with it. I feel relaxed and energized. And I'm like, oh man, this feels great. Like I feel fucking great. I'm like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to eat the frog just because, hey, the frog may,
This is what I'm trying to say is I'm not saying this in a good way. I don't know the right words yet to describe what I'm trying to say, but Wim started this because he was in pain. He was trying to ease his pain and he sought out more pain to ease his pain. And through that
Right. You
out of
basically
pain,
you
found
distract the deepest pain with another pain. You distract you for a while, right?
right.
You jump into the cold or whatever. Your body is trying to process. It occupies the neurons
But this is
in your
what I'm trying to
brain.
say is you do process, like I can't really describe, I don't know how to even describe it. Like it's one of those things
But the thing
where
is, that's what I'm saying is
um
it's going to be different for different people.
it
For
is, yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have a searing pain that you need a distraction from, so you can jump into.
It's not a distraction, it's more of a reminder. Honestly, it's more of a reminder, if anything.
Back to what I'm saying is different people can be different, and
Yeah,
so
no, that's
so
fair.
so so it's all about the individual persons and how they can use the reflections for themselves.
Right.
And we have to kind of put it into the perspective of what good would it do for somebody to take these lessons and incorporate that, because some people, right, for Wim Hof, like his basically, like, let's say we build a ramp for a disabled person to go up, but that also benefit the non-disabled person
Mhm.
much, even much more, right? And
Yeah.
so Wim Hof, he discovered this method because he's trying to find some answers for the pain he's feeling. But not everybody's going to have the level of pain that you and
Oh, I
Wim
agree.
Hof.
Yeah.
You're probably a black swan event.
Yeah. No, no, I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I said this was weird for me. This is different for me with the way that I view like the cold shower. This is a way for me to, it's almost a reminder of pain.
Right. And it will be difficult for people to understand unless they
Right.
really knows your story, like, intimately. And
Right.
that's the thing, is people may not understand you, and they're gonna look at you as you look at Wim Hof before.
Right. Yeah, 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 no, for
It's
sure.
like,
I
I don't
mean,
understand what this guy's
yeah,
trying to say.
yeah,
Yeah, I hate it, but I love it. Yeah, if it was good or whatever. That's the thing, is people are gonna say, well, I just don't I can't connect the two. But for a
right,
person that is in your shoe, yeah, I know what he means. You know
right.
what I mean? And
Yeah,
so I think having to kind of give you that, having you giving that account is a good basis. But at the
right.
same time, it's not going to be the same for everybody else. But everybody else needs to have some other sense of, if I were not in his shoes and I'm in my shoes, Wim Hof, is it something that is usable, is beneficial, or isn't?
Yeah, I don't really care how Wim Hof helps me with my health. I like the activities for how it makes me feel personally. Not,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying is, a beaver must stand,
Right,
a lion must roar, whatever
right,
the thing
right.
is. For you, you're a different animal. And so you can't expect to, hey, I love to roar because, it's just who I am, you should do it too.
Right. Well, I find a lot of similarities with our exploration of values and how to leverage values. Like one could say that there's so many, we could go do extreme activities around living your values to promote what we're trying to do, and then have scientists study our brains and understand how we do what we do and put the science around to how it makes us feel and why it makes us either feel better or worse or whatever, and how that relates to our health and wellness and well-being, and try to make sense of all this from a
But
scientific
science is
perspective. But
science is still not. I mean, to me, science is still a very loose observations of what we see, because we say, hey, this little rock is good for you, right? You eat it, you're fine. Another person eat it, they die.
right,
So scientific doesn't apply to human beings,
this is
but human being is so different, many different variables. So even the
this is
science,
what
you can say, hey, I can test Chris, and yeah, he passed with flying colors. You put true on the treadmill. So the thing is, it's always the nuances that even in science can't, kind of fit into the little. So no scientific study is gonna be complete. Somebody, like I told you, my body can't handle any plants, right? Your body can't take gluten,
right.
right? Other people can. So it's not like, hey, your body is the same as the other guy's body, and for you, you can because you're different, right? Scientific is say, hey, this is one standard thing observation we do, and we can test one person and say, if one person reacts this way, that means that I can extrapolate and say everybody's going to be the same. And that to me is a shortcoming of scientific method, and all these things that we think is going to be, hey, it's standardized, it's completely universal, which
Right.
I say it's not.
This incredible connection with Wim Hof and his journey. Like He wants to help people. Like that's what he's really doing, is he wants to help people, and he's found a way that he's helped himself and that he wants to share with other people. He found a way to process his pain and to make himself live a life, find a way to live a sustainable life, and he wants to share that with other people, right? You and I, we've found a way to live a life that's sustainable for us, and we want to share it with other people.
I don't want to share my stuff with anyone. I'm willing to share. I'm not going out there and say, okay, because I'm not going to say, well, I'm doing this because I want to share. If somebody asks me,
right,
I'm willing to tell them, whatever I think, my opinions, my journey, whatever. I'm willing. I don't want to, right? So that's two separate perspectives, because a lot of people go out there and they do something and say, oh, I got to share this because whatever. For me, it's different, right? And like I say, it's nothing wrong with other people that wants to share, because that's how they find value. For me, it's like I just do what I do, right? I'm not going to keep something as a secret, but I'm not go out there and say, hey, by the way, Chris, I did this and blah, 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 whatever. The only reason why I'm saying something is because I know you well, and I know that it may help you because, of the interaction that you and I had, right? So that means I would say, well, I read this book, right? This book is really good and it brings benefits to me. I want to share with you. But anyone I don't know, I'm not gonna go out there and say, hey, by the way, I just go to a party or to dinner and say, hey, you know about Wim. So the thing is, some people want to do that. For me, it's I don't. If somebody saw me do something stupid and say, hey, why you do that? I'm willing to share, but I'm not going out there and say, hey, I want to share. No one's inviting and no one's asking.
Agreed. I mean, that's why we're creating content to make it public.
It's content for ourselves, so that it's a reminder for us.
Right,
but along the way, it also benefits somebody who wants it. Just like you're building a handicap ramp for somebody, but you're not going to prevent the one who can walk from using the ramp.
This is my point. Is what I was saying is, like, Wim Hof has been exploring his own pain and his own stuff, just like we're exploring our own values and how we can help each other. And then we're sharing that journey with other people. That's what he's doing. If you want to accept it or you don't want to accept it, you want to embrace it. If it resonates with you, great. Like the whole taking this full circle for me, like just Wim Hof method in general, this was a way that he found a way to live a sustainable life and process his pain and turn it into something that helped to propel him forward with a purpose in life. He then wanted to share that. Like, and however he shared that, all he wanted to do.
He's willing to share. He doesn't necessarily want to share, because in the story, he started practicing all this thing. Like his son,
he did it for 25 years by himself.
Is the one that put a camera on him. Say, hey, look, my dad's doing this crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
His son is what put him on, and then people start asking him. So to me, he's a respectable guy. He's like, oh, I'm the Wim Hof. I can do all these. You should do this as well. Like, to me, this is why we don't like philosophers. Philosopher actually,
he's an action.
He's an actor. He does what he does. Right. He only answers you when you ask him the question. He's not going to go out there, hey, you should do that. He doesn't enforce his moral and his principle on you like philosophers do, or like psychologists would do. Hey, you're being a bad person, or So to me, that's a difference. And I want to make sure that there's this distinction between what we do. Right. I don't give 2 cents. Right. I'm not going to tell you unless you ask, right? You ask me, hey, how am I doing? And say, I'm doing great. And what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And then you ask me, I'll tell. I'm not going to keep it a secret. I'm willing to tell, but I'm not going out there to tell you unsolicited.
You're living your life. You're doing what you're saying. You are walking the walk of the life that you want to live.
You're living it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's similar to what we're trying to do as well. This is why I started off this whole reflection about life hacks and gimmicks and these people on social media and everything. You can just smell a fake from a mile away, right? And I'm glad that I spent more time with Wim Hof, because he's not fake. I can say that he's not fake because, like what we're talking about, he has his soul in the game. He lives this shit every single day.
And everything that he did was someone asked him to do it.
Right.
Like all that stuff that you see him do on YouTube, on whatever, people have requested it. So he is not like, so that's what I'm saying is I want to make sure that people understand the distinction between like wanting to share versus willing to share. He is willing to share. I am willing to share, but I'm not going to share involuntarily without anyone soliciting my opinion.
Unless it's through your art that you put out into the world, and then it's just automatically shared. Like that's the whole point of creating art in the world.
We create these documentations, right? It's not close, it's not locked in a place somewhere. It's visible for anyone who is interested can go and look through. So it's there, but we're not going to put a
I'm not gonna
hey, come here if you want to change your life. Come here,
exactly.
you got to find your
That's
core
the difference.
values,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And so the thing is, because if you don't distinguish yourself from the life hackers of the world, life hackers are basically snake salesmen. Or just going to sell you some kind of dream, and then they pocket the money and they disappear. And
Exactly.
so we are probably in the
Yeah.
same area, but we need to kind of distinguish between what we do and what other people say we do, right? To me, I don't give 2 cents if people like what I say,
Shits is the word.
right?
No, it's too. I don't give 2 shits. I was just helping you. Hopefully,
If you want to make it graphic,
as I don't give 2 shits. Not
yes.
What does that even mean?
That's why I changed it 2 cents.
Yeah.
No one knows what it means, but they know what I mean. I mean, basically, I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
A shit or 2 shit or 3 shit or whatever. It's the same thing. I don't give a shit.
What's with the twos? I guess I don't give a
Because
shit.
what I'm saying is I don't give
I don't
two
give,
shit.
yeah.
I don't give a million shit, right?
Right.
So you're gonna accentuate on the already known urban dictionary meaning of the shit. I don't care, right? I don't care is what it means. You emphasize it by saying I don't give a shit, and then you say, well, I want to make sure that people really understand. So I like double or triple emphasize. I don't give 2 shits.
Right.
And then I don't get 3 shit, 4 shit, whatever. My point is still valid. Is I don't really care, right? I don't. Is this journey is for me and for you. If anyone can see some values, help yourself.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not going
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
prevent. I'm not going to block you from accessing it.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to throw in your face.
100% agree. Like that is a huge difference, and that is why I read this book. If I thought it was just some dude that was just trumpeting a new life hack or whatever, I would have been like, I'm not into this. I wouldn't have done it. But like his soul's in the game, and I respect. You can tell when somebody's soul's in the game, and I respect people with soul in the game, and that's that.
Right, to have your soul in the game, so you can maintain that 7th generation Iroquois.
Yeah,
because if you don't, like whatever distracted,
yeah,
right. You diverge from your true core values that the answer you found in the beginning, the original reason why you went on this journey in the beginning, you have lost sight of that. So the answer you found is no longer there. You completely drifted away from the answers, and you are looking for profits, for clicks, for views, for positive comments, for accolades. And to me, you are not living your core values anymore. You're living somebody else's image of what you should be.
What was it about?
Like somebody has an image of this person already, and he's trying to reinvent himself as something different. And
like method acting.
No, it's a pretty far back. So I don't recall exactly, but I kind of vaguely remember that somebody was known for something, and then he tries to do something different. People keep forcing him back to that same same role.
Nothing comes to mind.
Once you're known for something, right? People expect you to be in that role, and it's hard to break out of it. And so that's the thing is, once you get to the point where you have become this guy that makes money or that brings view, whatever, then you go back to your core values, because your core values change, right? So you found the answer to whatever life question you had.
Kevin Smith, that's what you wanted to talk about. Kevin
Yes.
Smith, the movie maker.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And they kept making him. They wanted him to keep recreating what he did before, and he was like, I already did that, and I want to go do something different. But he's like, it felt trapped, and he was like, I got really good at making movies, but like I got really bad at probably making the stuff that I wanted to make, and that was when he decided to start doing like his podcast and stop making movies and directing and
My point is that once you drifted into this role, right, you are expected. So for you to go back to being who you were and who you should be is struggle. It is struggle for you. So that's why you want to come out and declare to the world the answer you want, what it is that you want people to view you as, so that they support you. Like the universe conspire to help you achieve what you want, but you start listening to other people, and because the people may not understand you or may not even like you, right? They shifted you towards something you're not. They created you. They created you a different persona, and that persona is like you're talking about like companies nowadays, right? In the beginning, it's all about culture, about this, and then it start to sell the company, and the company becomes, say, it's all about answering to the shareholders, all
Right.
about making profits or whatever. And then, we're talking about family. We are one big family. We only make $16 billion instead of $17 billion. I gotta let go of
Yeah.
10,000 of you. Like
Yeah.
that's what I see. Right? You look at big companies, say we're a big family. Well, you're still making $16 billion, right? It's short of the quote unquote the expectations
Right.
of the analysts of
Of some random dude,
16.5 or
yeah,
something.
right. Yeah.
And they say, well, we have to cut costs. So what the hell you do with the $16 billion? The
Yeah.
CEO get like half a billion, 500 million, and then the investors getting like a couple $1 billion, and then these workers, they quote unquote your family, get laid off.
Right.
I mean, so that to me is you become something completely different than the original intent of what brought you from where you were into this person, this new persona, this new character, new entity.
Agreed.
And for you to go back, let's say now, and I say, well, I'll go back to become a family again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's very, very difficult.
Totally agree. Awesome. I feel like that's good spot to end for the night. If you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's always tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next day. So.
And we're going to continue our Wim Hof discussion tomorrow too. So the fun part 2 to talk about what I learned during my month actually of Wim Hof. Looking forward to that. The question we can leave with everybody is, what does it take to make you feel comfortable enough to take a risk on something new? Just something to ponder, something to think about. I'm looking forward to part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before we go, I got to leave you with something really fast. Actually, meeting today with my like a department meeting or whatever, and somebody was giving like an enablement presentation, and this new company we just acquired was giving a presentation on their services, and they were introducing themselves to the team, and somebody said, we really handled all from soup to nuts, and I go, I don't know why, I go, what the hell does that mean? Like, do you know what soup to nuts means? I had to look this up. Like, do you know what it means?
No.
Do you have any, what about 2 shits?
I don't probably give you 5 shits.
5 shits. 5 shits. Okay. All right. So I'll just tell you, because I had to look this one up. What does soup to nuts mean? I know it means from beginning to end. What it's supposed to stand for is from soup to nuts, like from beginning to end. People always say, we handle things from beginning to end, like soup to nuts. And I'm always like, yeah, I just nod because I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. It's soup to nuts, but like, I understand what they mean by it, but I'm like, what does that mean? Like, and
you start with a soup and you end with the nuts.
Yeah, so I was like, I was trying to rack my brain. It's like, how do you draw the line between soup and nuts? And as I looked it up, apparently in formal dinners, you start off eating a formal dinner usually with soup, which makes sense. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, like, I understand that, but you eat nuts as your dessert, like, is your last course. Like that's a formal dinner. You eat nuts. Like I'm like, I was like, what? In what fucking world do you eat nuts?
I thought that's an appetizer.
I do. That's why I said, like, I don't understand this phrase, soup to nuts. I was like, who eats nuts for dessert? Like, I mean, honestly, who does that?
I mean, you eat nuts, but you eat it for appetizer. You eat peanuts, you eat pecans, whatever for appetizer.
Dessert at the ends of meals, all right.
But doesn't mean all dessert has nuts.
Fruits and nuts with ancient calling for ancient authority for the gospel.
Like I say, I don't give a fuck. I don't eat it. I don't eat nuts for desserts.
We're good. We're parched tonight. All right. Have a good night.
Okay. Good night.